What's going on, you guys? What is going on? What is going on, you guys? This be your boy Scotty by Nature TV, and we're here for another Yes for the Mess deep dive. That's what we're here for tonight. So, what's going on? What's the tea? I'm here, and you're here too. Okay. So, listen. I know y'all probably. I'm gonna go on and say it. Y'all might be tired of the RHOA videos. And listen, I don't want to be talking about RHOA all the time either, but it ain't really nothing to talk about right now. And on top of that, RHOA is definitely a hot topic at this moment in time. So I'm gonna bank off of this shit. Like, we're gonna talk about some old shit, we're gonna talk about some new shit, we're gonna do it all because it ain't that much to talk about out here. And we just gotta be real. There ain't really nothing going on in the blogs. Then there's that Nolan Well stuff that is, very much so triggering. Triggering and like sad and stuff, and I don't really want to talk about that either. So it's like, we just gonna keep the train going because it ain't really that much to talk about. And I'm bringing in a lot of music content now. I'm doing the songs that are problematic. I'm doing the album reviews with DJ and stuff like that. So y'all got new content that's coming in right now, and it's moving a little slow, but we already know that it's new to the platform, so it's going to pick up very slowly. But we're definitely going to I'm definitely going to continue to push it out because I've been promising you guys music content for over 2 years now, and I'm finally doing it the best way that I know how. So shout out to you guys for the small amount of you guys that's actually tuning in to watch it. What else I want to bring up right now? Listen, I am tickled right now. I just said this on Twitter, but I am tickled because I am really getting a kick out of the Portia fans, like being so mad at me about my opinions on this Shamia and Portia thing. Like, oh my God, he's so biased. Oh my God, I thought he was unbiased and all this other shit, right? But I don't give a fuck. Like, I feel like I've been very consistent with everything I've been saying. Like, I haven't liked Portia for a long time. I've always liked Shamia. And I do think that, and I said from the beginning, when it came down to the friendship of it all, I did feel like Shamia was wrong. And last season, I did say that Shamia was wrong for not really telling Portia how she really felt and was going around telling everybody else. I did say that was wrong. But this season, I did feel sorry for Shamia because it does seem like it's a pile up on her. And that ain't changing. I was watching Jamie's review today and I saw people giving her the same energy. But it's like, y'all can't get mad at us because our opinions differ from yours. Like it's not that serious. But we already know how I get sometimes with Housewives, But this ain't as bad as the LAMH stuff. It ain't really as bad as that because that was horrible. Like, I dealt with a lot of stuff when it came down to LAMH, like for real. That was terrible. But but this is funny to me because they be real life mad at me for what I'm saying, like real life mad. But scratch your ass and get glad, baby. Just do what you got to do. But anyway. It's 56 of you guys up in here. Let me see what moderators in here. I got a whole lot of them. So it look like it's a chat full of them. I see Catherine. I see Ravine. I see Kendra. I see Aaliyah Brittany. What's up, girl? I see one of our newer moderators, Universe Soul Goddess. I also see, I think that's it. So those are all the moderators that we see. Y'all know we're gonna get this thing started at the 5-minute mark. And before we get there, moderators, you know what to do. Keep the chat clean. If anybody get disrespectful, you ain't gotta ban them, but you can time them out and make them think about what they done. Make sure they're liking the video. Make sure if they're new to the platform, make sure they're subscribing, and also make sure everyone is engaging. And on top of that, make sure that everybody is leaving flames in the chat as we go into the 5-minute mark. Okay. Now that we're at 5 minutes, let's get this show on the road, y'all. All right. So I wanted to do a video about this right here. Okay. That's exactly what I wanted to do a video on. Now we're here to talk about the friendship that was Phaedra and Kandi and Phaedra's friendship. This was the friendship that turned on the Real Housewives of Atlanta upside down forever. Forever. Turn them upside down forever. And we just got to be honest about it. They started off as besties, but winded up being strangers or mortal enemies, whichever one you want to call it. They winded up being it. And I got a whole lot of opinions on what I think from my vantage point as to how this friendship fell apart. Okay. And there's a lot of different opinions. I see everybody go online and they be talking about this shit. And I be so confused by people's opinions on this situation so much. And to me, it'd be like, girl, what is really going on here? Like, what's going on? Like, what's the tea with all of this? You feel what I'm saying? So we're about to go ahead and get this thing rocking. I'm trying to set up this outro video first. Hold on. Okay, they said this outro. All right. So now let me take this down and we're gonna talk about it. So Kandi started on the Housewives of Atlanta season 2. Season 2 was when I actually started watching it, right? Because my mama was watching season 1. And when I found out that Kandi was going to be on season 2, I was like, oh, yes, I got to watch this. Because, I was always a big Escape fan. Like growing up, my favorite groups were SWV, TLC, and Escape. I loved Escape. And Kandi was my favorite group member out of Escape. So her being on the Housewives of Atlanta was more reason for me to watch it. Kandi was the reason why I tuned into Real Housewives of Atlanta. So when I first found out about her being on the show, I binge watched the first season of Real Housewives of Atlanta with my mama, and I fell in love with the show. So then, so when it came down to it, we go into season 2. Kandi's on the show. She winds up getting real tight with Kim Zolciak. And then we get into season 3, and that's when Phaedra comes on the show alongside Cynthia Bailey. They were the 2 newbies of the show that season. And so by the end of season 3, you can see that Kandi and Phaedra was starting to grow like this little bond. But by season 4, you saw that they were pretty close. And they were each other's ride or die. Which I didn't mind that, because during that time on Housewives of Atlanta, you had Kandi and Phaedra, they were real tight. You had Nene and Cynthia, they was real tight. And Kim and Sheree, they were real tight. So people probably don't even realize that that's what that was. Like, people kind of don't realize that was like, kind of don't even realize that there was like this friendship dynamic where it was duos throughout the whole show. But it definitely was friendship duos throughout the show. Like, it was, like I said, Kandi and Phaedra, Kim and Sheree, Nene and Cynthia. There was definitely that right there. So they got to be real tight, and they had each other's back throughout their time being on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. I know for a fact that Kandi stayed having Phaedra's back throughout the time that they was on this show. And around season 6, they were still tight, but things in Phaedra and Apollo's marriage started changing by the end of the season, when Apollo was getting ready to go to jail again. And by the time we got to season 7, Phaedra was going through a lot of marital issues with Apollo, and during that time, he was really going to jail. And Kandi, they had got so intertwined into each other's lives that, while Phaedra and Kandi were very close, Todd and Apollo was also very close. And they were going through some stuff. And I remember at the very beginning, Kandi had an opinion about whether or not, Phaedra should let her kids go and see Apollo in jail, because she had her own family member that was going to jail, and she had her own experiences with that. Phaedra really didn't like what Kandi said. She felt like she was kind of overstepping her bounds with that, and she kind of felt like, I have the right to not want my kids to be going to a jail or doing that. And to be honest, I understood where Phaedra was coming from in that regard. Like, not everybody wants to have their kid go to a prison to go visit their parent, especially young kids like that. You never know how that can traumatize them. But I also understood where Kandi was coming from, because she was only just giving her opinion to her friend, who, she was basically saying that they're not going to know Apollo no more, when he goes to jail. So you want to make sure they continue to remember him. I got it from that aspect, but I also understood where Phaedra was saying when she said, well, I don't think I want my kids going to a jail cell to go see their daddy. It might be a bit much for them. And rightfully so. So I wasn't mad at neither one of them when it came down to that. So things started to happen in their lives. I would say that Phaedra was dealing with a lot with her divorce. And then and not to mention, Kandi was going through a lot with just being a newlywed wife and all of the stuff that was going on with her mama, her mother-in-law, her husband. Then her play got canceled. She had to fire all them people. And it was a very stressful time for the both of them. And Phaedra felt like she was getting a shitty end of the stick by Kandi. So she started getting close to Nene, who had went through a public divorce. And she started getting close to Portia, who also had gone through a very public divorce just the season prior to that with Cordell. So it seemed like they were moving into different directions. Like, Kandi was married now. She was, enjoying her marriage, but in the same breath, business-wise, she was going through things. And then you had Phaedra, who's going through a tumultuous time. She got 2 young children. Her husband's going to jail again and things like that. So they were going through their things, and she latched on to Nene and Portia because they experienced divorce already, a very public divorce already. And Kandi has never experienced divorce before. So she honestly, at the time, did not know how that felt to go through a public divorce. So throughout season 7, we start to see the cracks in the friendship that was Kandi and Phaedra. And during this season, I was still Team Phaedra and Team Kandi that season because let's be for real, y'all. During this time, my faves, if you watch my old videos, my favorites were Kandi, Portia, and Phaedra. Those were my favorites. Back then, those were my favorites. But this was the season where the tides began to turn for me. So I remember they was at this Mexican restaurant. Nene brought all of the girls together. Everybody was there except Phaedra. And she said that she was going to have them go to like a therapy session where they could all talk about their issues with one another. And Phaedra said, Nene said, I think you need to come. And Kandi said, well, I don't have no issues with nobody. And Nene and Portia was like, no, we think you should come because you and Phaedra have not been close. And so that's the first time Kandi knew that there was any issues between her and Phaedra. So Kandi is completely thrown off by this because of the simple fact that Phaedra hasn't told me that we got issues. Y'all telling me that we got issues, but Phaedra hasn't told me anything. So I'm confused by the notion of I need to go to this therapy session because I'm having issues in my friendship. So Kandi's confused, but Nene and Portia knows what's going on because obviously Phaedra has talked to Nene and Portia about how she really feels about Kandi. Now, this is where I get annoyed with that situation. How are we friends and I don't know that you have an issue with me? How are we friends and you're not telling me how you're feeling? How are we friends and Nene and Portia knows what's going on, but I don't know what's going on? I'm sitting here thinking that we're good and we're not good at all. So what's really the tea? Like, what's going on here? You feel what I'm saying? So I definitely understood Kandi's confusion with that because if we're supposed to be best friends and you've been in my wedding and I've been there with you with the birth of both of your kids and shit like that, how come I don't know this? How come I don't know that there's a problem with us? Like, you need to tell me what's going on. So they go to the therapy session. I don't think Phaedra showed up. So next thing we know, Kandi goes and she confronts Phaedra about what's going on in their friendship. She said that Nene and Portia had told her that there was some issues in their friendship. And Phaedra looked at Kandi and told Kandi that there was no problem. So that was where I started looking at Phaedra funny because if it's not an issue between you and Kandi, Why is Nene and Portia saying that there's an issue? Clearly, you've been hanging out with them. You know, clearly you've been talking to them. So if there's not an issue between you and your friend, how come they're saying it, but you're saying otherwise? That's confusing, and that is fucked up of you to even allow that to be a thing. Like, what are we doing here? Like, what we talking about? What we doing? So Phaedra said that there was no problem. There was nothing going on. She ain't got no issue with Kandi or anything like that. Like, there's no issues between me and you. There's no issues. You know, whatever. That was her moment to actually be real and be honest about it. You feel what I'm saying? So, as they continue, Kandi let it go. And so they continue to be friends. They continue to do whatever. By the time we get to the season 7 reunion, Kandi has seen all of the episodes. And now she's upset because Phaedra wasn't being honest with her. And that has been my biggest issue with this whole thing with people, because people keep on making it seem like Kandi wasn't being a friend to Phaedra, and Kandi wasn't doing this and Kandi wasn't doing that. But in my mind, I was like, the moment that Kandi learned that Phaedra had some form of an issue with her, Kandi went straight to the source and asked her, what was the issue? Do you have a problem with me? Nene and Portia are telling me that you have an issue with me and you haven't told me anything. So what exactly is the issue here? And when Kandi went to her, Phaedra said nothing. There is no problem. So if my friend is telling me there's no problem, then what am I supposed to believe? Now, y'all can feel like Kandi wasn't being a friend to Phaedra all you want to. I don't agree with that. But Phaedra wasn't keeping it real. That's my issue with it. Phaedra wasn't keeping it real. If you feel like your friend has been distant, if you feel like the relationship is changing right now, if you're confused about where you stand with this person, that's where you go to that person and talk to that person about what's going on. But instead, you're talking to another friend, Portia, and then you're talking to someone that barely cares for your other friend, Nene. Nene don't care for Kandi, so why the fuck are you talking about me to a bitch that don't even like me like that? Like what we doing? Like what we talking about here? And honestly, I think that Kandi and Phaedra's friendship was being broken apart because of outside sources. It wasn't even them. If you want to be real, it wasn't even them that really broke them up. You got outside sources that played a part in it. And we ain't even went to all of the whoop-de-doos of it all when it come down to that. I feel like Todd and Apollo played a part in their friendship breaking up. Honestly, Portia played a big part in their friendship falling apart. Because remember when they were at that dinner, Phaedra and Kenya got into it. And Kenya was like, the man that you've been sleeping with, the man, blah, 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 blah. And then Phaedra picked up her purse and swung it at Kenya. Nene and Portia immediately had gotten up to pull Phaedra away, and Kandi came behind them. So then after that, Portia said some shit like, me and you are definitely close, but I don't think that me and you are as close as you and Kandi. And I feel like she should have been a little bit more vocal. Once again, putting negative seeds in Phaedra's head, basically saying that she should have been a little bit more vocal. Then she says that I feel like you need to be 100% Phaedra, and it feels like you're divided. That's also what she said to Kandi. And not to mention, she says that what else did Portia say? Because Portia said a whole lot, and it contributed to the demise of their friendship. I don't care what nobody says. She played a part in it too. She was coming in between them. Portia said, Kandi needs to make a decision. If she's gonna be with Phaedra, she's gonna be over there with her husband and Apollo. So I was just like, so y'all trying to make her pick a side and make her choose and shit. Like, what type of shit is that? You feel what I'm saying? So we're to reunion now. Of course I can't put the clip on my screen, but what I'm gonna do is play the audio so we can have a little bit of a little bit of refreshing, so to speak. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna play the clip, but we're not gonna put the clip on the screen. So we're gonna go ahead and get into that. Let's get into it, y'all.
Okay, I have a lot of questions for you. Layla from Seattle said, Kandi, you have the nerve to compare a tour being canceled to Phaedra's husband going to prison for 8 years? If Todd were locked up, you would want someone by your side to support you.
First of all, the tour being canceled was not the only thing that was going on in my life at the time. I had a lot of other personal issues going on. I also had a family member that was going to prison at the time.
Really?
That was close to me. I also had, whatever else was going on in my marriage, family. And on top of that, the play was being canceled, but it wasn't just the play being canceled. It's just that I had to fire all those people, and all those people were dependent on me. So, yeah, I was stressed about that. To me, I think everybody's watching this show and they're, listening to Phaedra tell them, oh, Kandi hasn't been there for me, da, da, da. But never once, whenever we had a conversation, I never got that from you. I never got that from you. So I was totally caught off guard. And to see and watch back, I'm like, really? I couldn't even believe you was doing that. That really tripped me out. Because I'm like, okay, if you was really feeling like that, you could have easily let me know. We had talked. We had not been talking every day. No, we had not. I had not texted you every day. No, I had not. But it was not no months that was going by without us talking. In the way, when I'm watching, you would think that it was. So I was thrown.
Any response to that?
Well, Kandi and I used to talk.
And this is why I sided with Kandi, because it's like for me, I always feel like this. I'm the type of friend, while I'm a good friend, I'm a friend that got character flaws too. Like, that's one thing you can say about Scotty by Nature is that while I can speak on my strengths, I can speak on my weaknesses. I can do all of that. While I give you the shirt off my back, while I answer the phone for you whenever you need me to, there are times where I can be a tad bit emotionally vacant, like emotionally distant, because I'm not the most emotional friend. Like, I'm not the friend that's gonna rub your back and cry with you and all that other shit. Like, that ain't the type of friend that I am. But I do support you, and I am there for you in my own way. But my thing is, sometimes when I'm going through stuff, I go quiet. Or sometimes I pretend like I'm good and I know I'm not good. And when it gets to that point, it's a different situation. But my thing is, if I'm doing something or saying things that's bothering you, or if I'm moving a way that you don't approve of, talk to me, come to me. We can have a conversation about it. And I can disagree with what you're saying to me, but I can also sit there and really tell you you're not wrong in how you feel. I might not see it the way you do, but you're not completely wrong about how you feel about the situation. That's one thing that I can say. I always tell people, pick up the phone. If you got a problem with me, pick up the phone. Don't do weird shit. Just pick up the motherfucking phone and talk to me. It's just that simple. Talk to me if you got a problem. Talk to me if you feel like I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do as a friend. Tell me if I'm falling short as a friend, because I stand firm on being a friend. being a good friend, not just a friend, but being a good friend to somebody. Like, I pride myself on my friendships, and that's mainly because of the fact that I have a lot of family issues. I talk to some cousins, my mama, my brother, and that's about it. My friends are my family that I made on my own. That they're not a family that was given to me. This is a family that I chose. So when I choose you to be a part of my life, I take that shit very fucking seriously. If you have a problem with anything that I'm doing, you better come to me about it. Because if you go to everybody else and not me, then we're gonna have a problem. I'm no longer gonna trust you, and I'm no longer gonna want to fuck with you again if you're not gonna tell me what the fuck is going on. Now, if Phaedra felt like Kandi fell short as a friend, or she slacked on her friendship, or she did whatever, she should have said that. But instead, she talked to Nene and Portia about the situation and didn't even come to Kandi with the situation. Not to mention, when Kandi actually confronted you about the situation, you said there was no problem. You said there was no issue. But I'm looking at the show, and it's an issue. How does that make sense? Let the true feeling be said. Yeah, that's why I take my people be sick of me talking about my friends on here, but I don't give a fuck. Y'all know that. But I take my friendships very seriously. I do. I take my friendships seriously. I don't play them type of games with people. Let's continue.
Very regularly. And once this started happening, we just weren't talking regularly. And the few times I did reach out to her, you know, she didn't text back. And so
I didn't text back.
Well, because you said I was texting the wrong phone. We had that conversation. So it was just very different. You know, when I was on the run one time, I called her, and, you know, that was probably a very stressful day. And she didn't sort of follow back with me because, and I don't know what was happening, but I just felt like it was a weird, in comparison to all the other years that we've been friends, you know, it just got very strained at that time. She, you know, I wasn't being invited to some things, and I knew she was having, and she wasn't calling me. She wasn't really texting. It was just different, and I really wasn't sure why.
The only time she let me know that there was a problem with something, the night that Apollo showed up to bar one, and, you know, I guess the thing where he was apologizing to her, she called me that night, and I did not call her back. But I knew I was going to see her the next day. So it was like, I guess she got mad because I didn't call her at that moment that she wanted to talk to me. So I said, girl, I wanted to call you that night, but I said I was going to wait. And then next thing you know, she kind of blew up on me. And I was like, well, what is wrong? Because she didn't even know what happened. Little did you know, I had snapped on Apollo's ass that night. Did I not? That whole night, I was taking up for you.
For 2-3 years now, you had a beef between her and Phaedra because Phaedra's really felt like she been trying to screw you. Phaedra's gonna be furious.
But yet, you sitting up here mad at me because I didn't call you fast enough. And I'm just like, there's never been a time when I talk bad about you, even when other people be around me, even when we went to the thing where Peter was giving me an award, I never. So to me, to see her do that, it's just kind of like.
Why didn't you reach out to her if you felt that your friendship, you know, that she wasn't giving you what?
I did.
You did?
That was the only time you let me know that you were angry about something. Then we talked about it. We were back on the same page. And then after that, I thought we was cool. We weren't talking every day. I can give her that. And that's why after the situation when Portia and Nene said what they said, I was like, well, dang, okay, you know, I guess I'm slacking on my friendship. So I didn't have a problem with letting her know I apologize.
But you keep saying, I'm not talking to either of them about you. I've never said anything bad about you. Never.
Phaedra, when you sit up there on TV and was like, well, she just lost a business deal, so money can make me happy, as if that's the only thing that was going on.
That's the only thing that I knew.
I told you about the prison situation with my other family member. And I told you what was going on. Even when I mentioned to her about the play being canceled, she was like, oh yeah, I saw that somewhere. It wasn't like she texted me and said, oh girl, I hate that happened to you. So it's just like, to me, it almost ends up being like a lopsided friendship. If you always expecting me to be here, 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 but you ain't doing that. When she graduated, I blocked my calendar so that I could drive hours to see her and be there for her. And every time they say something, I always stand up for her. So to see her try to play me like, oh, all I cared about was money, I was like, really? Oh, okay. Well, you ain't got to worry about it no more.
And listen, let me tell y'all. Y'all know I've always been Team Kandi. Y'all know that. I told y'all Kandi was the reason why I started watching the show in the first place. Y'all already know that. But so my opinion really ain't got nothing to do with the fact that I like Kandi. It's just the fact that I just don't like fake ass people. I don't like it. I'm not here for fakeness. Like that ain't even what it is. Like I hate fake ass people. I just do. Like I wish that somebody that knows me very, very well was on this live for me. Probably Josiah. Josiah knows. Like and y'all know I give Josiah a whole lot of acclaim. Like that is like I cry sometimes talk about Josiah. That's like my best friend in the world. And the thing is, he know me. And he knows I don't really dab in fake ass shit. Like I cannot fuck with fake ass people. Like that shit is crazy to me. I can't. Like if you fuck with me, fuck with me. But even if you fuck with me, just be 100% real. Like be honest about it. And I think that is the issue that I'm having with this whole thing is that Phaedra wasn't honest. But a lot of people like to make Phaedra out to be the victim. And I don't really think that there's any victims here. I just think that there was a lack of honesty. And that's what broke the friendship down. And then when you bring other figures into it, like Todd, Apollo, Portia, all these different people, of course it's going to break down because y'all not stopping it from breaking down because neither one of y'all are taking accountability for the parts that you played in it. So then we're going to season 8. It's kind of strained between Kandi and Phaedra. Like, we really don't know if they're going to remain friends or not. We started off the season with Kandi and Phaedra talking to one another and Phaedra mentioning that Kandi and Todd has stored some of Apollo's stuff in their garage or whatever. And, you know, Phaedra felt betrayed by Kandi because she didn't know that they had Apollo's stuff in there. Now, Cynthia also had Apollo stuff in her storage as well. And they all assumed that Phaedra knew that they had Apollo stuff up in there. And she said, you know, the FBI coming to me, ask me where this stuff at, and y'all got this stuff up at y'all house, and y'all this and y'all that. You know what I mean? Like, that's pretty much where Phaedra was coming from. And then there was this workout video that was supposed to happen, and Phaedra had not paid Todd all of his money or anything like that. Then, you know, it went from them just being cordial and trying to coexist to, you know, Phaedra making remarks about Todd, you know, scrounging for change and getting a weekly allowance from Miss Kandi and shit like that was being said on TV. And then that is when Kandi was like, I know that the police is coming to your house for way more than a bike and a motorcycle, I am sure. So it was a whole lot more that they were coming to the house for. You know what I'm saying? So then by the time we get to the season 8 reunion, it's pretty much like we already know that this friendship is pretty much over. Like they really ain't got nothing more to offer to this friendship at this point. Like it's really nothing else to give to this, like nothing. And so that's basically where they were at with it. Like it was really nothing more to give to this, like nothing. And so you know, Kandi didn't like the fact that Phaedra was talking about her husband and all of that other shit, right? So that was pretty much the gist of season 8. So we get into season 9. Kandi and Phaedra's friendship is pretty much over with. Like, it's over with at this point. It's really nothing more that they can say to each other. Like, it's over, but we're just gonna coexist. And then, you know, Mama Joy said the shit about some, you know, there was some guy going to your opposite. He was gonna blow you the fuck up. That's what Mama Joy said. So then that is when Phaedra met up with Kandi to talk about what her mama did, but Kandi wanted to talk about everything that transpired between the two of them. And so they talked about everything. They starting to go into the conversation. And then Kandi was still feeling a way about the way that Kandi felt like she was the scapegoat. She felt like Phaedra made her the scapegoat with this whole little situation that involved Apollo and their friendship and stuff like that. She felt like she was the scapegoat, which I understand. Because she kind of was a scapegoat. No lies. She kind of was. So then after that, it was more so like, so after it was like her being like a scapegoat and stuff like that, it was she was saying that basically you when we would talk, you would say that, you know, Apollo relieved you because he was giving you drama at the time you was ready for him to damn go. And then that is when Phaedra says it doesn't matter if you're ready for somebody to go or not. It doesn't mean that it doesn't come with some form of emotion. And that's when Kandi said, let's just stop. Let's just stop, because I don't want to say nothing crazy to you. And then that's when Phaedra was like, well, you're making it light. And then that's when Kandi was like, well, I'm making it light because you made it light to me. When we would talk, you would say that you're gonna be married to somebody else by the new year. And you was talking to other people before Apollo even went to jail. And then she said, so Apollo going to jail was taking stress off your back at the time. That's the way that you were putting it to me. And I know you couldn't let people know how you really felt, because you know how people look down on women who don't stand by their man. And I understand that, but don't make me the scapegoat. And then she said, don't do that. And that's when Phaedra said, I'm not making you scapegoat, honey. And then Kandi said, that's how I felt all these years. You was doing your pity party, but with me, there was no pity party. So that's when Phaedra said, I wasn't throwing a pity party. And then Kandi said, yes, you were. For you to sit there and cry in front of fucking Nene. You was crying to her about our friendship, but you weren't crying about our marriage, but you were crying about our friendship. So that's when Phaedra looks at Kandi and says, well, maybe I loved you more than I love my husband. Did you ever think of that? Then that's when Kandi was like, that's real sweet, Phaedra. Okay. But see, this is why I don't take you seriously. I can't take you. And so that was pretty much the end of that conversation. Enter Portia, who I still feel played a part in this friendship breaking apart. They start falling out. Mainly because of the fact that she felt like she had to defend Phaedra. And that's when the whole, you tried to take me to a sex dungeon, you and Ty tried to drug me and all this other stuff. The whole season, it went, it got dragged the whole season. Only for us to get to the reunion, and we find out that Phaedra was the one who told Portia that Kandi was going to try to and her. And the fact that people was mad at Kandi after that for not wanting nothing to do with Phaedra or never wanting to film with Phaedra again was so crazy to me. And I was just like, Kandi being a bad friend to Phaedra at that moment was subjective to me. Everybody has their own opinion. Now, do I think that there was a notion of Kandi was being a bad friend, Phaedra was being a bad friend, or anything like that? I don't think that was the case here. I think what was going on was that these were two women that were dealing with two different things in their lives. Phaedra was going through a divorce. She had two small kids, and she was trying to maneuver through this public ass divorce, something that she had never dealt with before. Kandi, on the other hand, just got married. She's having family issues. And then her tour got canceled. So they're both dealing with shit at the same time. So they're focusing on their own lives, but neglecting the friendship that they had. So I don't really think that there was a notion of Kandi was a bad friend, Phaedra was a bad friend. I don't think that that's what it was. I think that both of them were going through things in their lives and they really didn't have time to devote to this friendship that they had. But I think that Phaedra closed and locked the casket once she made up that lie on Kandi. That was it. I don't feel like there is no reason for anyone to make up that kind of lie on somebody. We could say that Kandi was a bad friend. As I said, it's subjective because I don't think it was a matter of a bad friend for either one of them. Like I told y'all, I sincerely believe that it was just about both of them going through different things in their lives at that moment. That's what I chalk it up to. But it doesn't matter if you felt like somebody was being a bad friend. It doesn't constitute making up a lie like that. Do you know that I've had many friends that are not my friends anymore that have done things to me that was fucked up or was a bad friend to me, and not once have I ever thought that I'm gonna go out and make up a big ass lie about them to ruin their reputation just because they did something to me. I would never do that. I just won't do that. It ain't in me to do that. You feel what I'm saying? Because guess what? Like I tell y'all all the time, when I rock with you, I rock with you. When I fuck with you, I fuck with you. It's just that's just the type of dude I am. When I fuck with you, I really do fuck with you. Like it's simple as that. When I fuck with you, I fuck with you. And even when I don't fuck with you anymore, it's the fact that at one point in time, I rocked with you. At one point in time, I broke bread with you. At one point in time, you was my road dog. So even though I don't even fuck with you like that, I'm still not going to drag you for Phil. Like, I'm not going to tell your deepest, darkest secrets. I'm not going to blow you out. I'm not going to air you out like that. I'm not going to air out everything I know about you. I'm not going to do that. It's still going to be with me. Because if I could air you out just because we're not friends anymore, then that means to me that we were never friends to begin with, if we could do that. This is why I don't respect people that do stuff like that. Like I told y'all before, I've had someone do me like that because they felt a way about me. They felt like, I wasn't there for them or whatever. They felt like this, they felt like that. And the thing that they decided to do was to go and do some shit like that. Just air me out. My thing is, I would never do that to anybody. I don't give a fuck. I would never do that. Because I feel like if we get to that level, that means we were never friends. Fuck what you feel like I did, and fuck what I actually did. The fact that you, just because we're not cool, or you feel like we're not cool anymore, or you feeling some type of way about me, for you to air out my business, things that we talked about in private, things that we talked about, as friends, and because you feeling some type of way about me right now, you want to air it out. For me, once you do that, there's no way we can get back to where we used to be. There is no way. That means we were never friends. I'm sorry, Terry, but Kandi ain't got nothing to do with Shami and Portia's issues. I don't know why y'all trying to push that narrative. But yeah, you were never my friend. If that's what we own, you ain't never really just seen it for me like that. Am I wrong? Because there are some people out there that be like, I've been asked questions about people before, and people ask me shit like, well, Scotty, do you think that you could be cool with this person again? Or do you think that do you ever see this person ever being your friend again, or do you see yourself ever being, you know, friends with this person again and stuff like that? And I'm like, no, depending on what they did, no. Once I'm done, like I told y'all, it's just fair and square for me. Once I like I said, when I fuck with you, I fuck with you. It's just that simple. When I fuck with you, I fuck with you. And when I don't fuck with you no more, I don't. But what I'm not gonna do is go out of my way to hurt you, though. I'm not gonna do that. I can hate your guts right now, but I ain't gonna go out of my way to hurt you. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I ain't gonna do that. Shit. You might be all kinds of bitch ass niggas to me right now. You might be a bitch ass nigga, a bitch ass bitch, all types of shit to me right now. But I'm not gonna go out of my way to hurt you, though. That ain't even in my spirit. I wouldn't even feel right doing it. I feel like shit doing it. Why would I do that to you? And if you want to know why I don't like Phaedra, this is why. I think Phaedra is phony. I think Phaedra is fake as fuck. And she's one of those Southern women that pretends to be nice and they're really not. And they don't necessarily own their shit. And that's one thing I can't stand about a person is when they don't own their shit. I promise you I don't like that. Own it. Just own it. I can respect a person when they own their shit. That's it. Just own your shit and we'll be good. That's why I don't care for Phaedra. That's why she ain't never really, I can't do it. And another thing about this, another thing that I don't like is a liar. When you lie so many times, I'm never going to believe nothing you say. Until you provide a receipt for me. I ain't going to never believe nothing you say. You feel what I'm saying? So, when it all boils down to Kandi and Phaedra, I really feel as though it was no victims here. Kandi wasn't no victim. Phaedra wasn't no victim. I don't really think there was no villains here. I think that Phaedra made herself the villain when she took it to the next level with their drug and shit. That was a bit much for me. So that's it. And that's all. I'm about to go on and get up out of here. I'll see y'all tomorrow. I might give y'all another Real Housewives of Atlanta history lesson. I just might. You know, like I said, Housewives of Atlanta is a hot topic right now. So why not use it to my advantage right now? I see you guys tomorrow. I might do a live before the chasing panel and all that good stuff, but I see you then. Bye, y'all.
Hey, yo, pass the mic, pass the mic. I'ma talk my shit, then I'll be done for the night. He tried to fuck me on my money, he the jealous type. I heard you say that you the shit, we know that don't sound right. Hey, yo, pass the mic, pass the mic. I'ma talk my shit, then I'll be done for the night. He tried to fuck me on my money, he the jealous type. I heard you say that you the shit, we know that don't sound right.